Yo, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Yo, bro.
That's a hell of a get up, dude.
Yeehaw, baby.
I like that. You
I
feeling
appreciate
that today?
I haven't worn the cowboy hat in quite some time. Remember the last time I wore this thing?
My guess would be the auction.
That is correct. When Slick Johnson came through and auctioned off that
Beautiful
official
Bob
Markstrom
Ross.
Bob Ross.
I'm nice
Yeah.
with it.
That was a good time.
I probably got another Bob Ross coming up real soon.
I think you should.
I mean, we're gonna be doing it, odds are, but I'm gonna have to figure out a way to travel back with it so we can send it to the highest bidder.
Ship it.
You know what I'm saying?
Just ship it.
Yeah, but
They won't take care of it.
well, I just get so nervous, man.
And we do have bad luck with shipping in the recent past.
Yeah, we're on a cold streak. We're on a cold streak.
Abe, what's up with you, dude?
Not much. I'm coming at you from a different location today. So I'm down
Undisclosed
south. Yeah, I'm down in the south. That's all I could give away.
Very
Yeah.
secretive.
Is it the deep south?
I would argue, yeah. I mean,
Deep south.
Well, what do you say we get into this thing, boys? What do we got first on the agenda?
well, if there was a tournament in being angry, the gamers would certainly win. But it was a different kind of tournament they were angry about.
Other clip. We got Abe.
All right. So recently there was a tournament. It was the ALGS tournament for Apex Legends. And during the tournament, while it was live, while everybody was participating, some of the streamers all of a sudden started getting hacked mid-tournament and cheats were added to their accounts. So while they were playing, things like ESP and other blatant hacks were being added while they were playing, ruining the tournament itself. A lot of them had to exit the game for fear of being banned or having other things kind of occur to their accounts. And obviously you can't have that happen during a live competition. So while it was on display for the world, the security in Apex Legends probably a little lax, and a bunch of hacks were done live.
Is there any
Oh,
footage
yeah.
of this?
And
There's footage.
you're gonna love this, Slum. You can see the injector on their screen. And dude, it's wild. Here we go.
Let's
Here
see what
we
we got
go.
here.
I'm getting hacked. But
He's getting hacked.
bro, I'm
Look at
getting
the
hacked.
ESP, bro.
I know, but can you play? Can you play it?
Yeah, but it's cheating. The
I
fuck?
know, sure. I know. What?
We see
Like what?
No, but
So
what?
where's the injector?
Yes, I can see everyone.
that it's
like,
not
I'm-
on the screen right
You need to
now.
leave, you need to leave.
Not
Okay.
in this
I
clip.
didn't leave the
But
game,
you
right?
can see the
Yeah, I'm
ESP
leaving,
of
I'm
all the
leaving, I'm
items
leaving.
and all the
Like, what the
players out in the
fuck?
environment.
Admin.
Like,
Oh
beyond the
yeah, that's
walls
not
there.
normal.
I left. Like,
Admins now. Restart your game and
Wild.
rejoin.
This is this is their pro league.
Yeah.
This is their
What?
pro
I mean,
league.
you can see the team names. You have TSM, Cloud9. Like this is a big tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So is this when they do tournaments like this? Obviously, this guy's at his house, so
Right.
it's not like on a private server. Like this is just normal.
I mean, it is. It's a private server, and it's just not a LAN, right? So it's being hosted, and they connect through. There's different ways to do it. But they probably get like a server code, and then they connect with a password, and they connect to that, and it starts up, and everyone goes, right? They click the go button, and the match begins. The problem here, and this is funny because I think we talked about this last week, is this is a result of kernel level anti-cheat. And so we talked a little bit about the fact that Valorant has kernel level anti-cheat, but it really shouldn't be demonized because it's really one of the only FPSs that has no cheating or very little, right? It's done a very good job. The difference here is in the safety first thought process and just general capability of Riot developers versus Respawn developers. And unfortunately, they haven't done a very good job on that front, clearly. So they hacked multiple players at one time also.
Oh gosh.
There's TSM Hal, or Imperial Hal, I believe is his name. You could see the injector up on his screen, and he's like, "What is this?" it was
Is
wild.
one of the anti-cheat things more invasive than the other? Is that why there's like maybe a conflicting feelings on both ends?
Say that one more time. Sorry.
Is one of the ways that you do anti-cheat, like the kernel or the other thing, forgive me, I'm not too informed on that subject, but is one of them more invasive than the other?
This is the most invasive version.
But
This
it's also the most,
It
like,
can be, right.
okay.
There's a lot of criticism with kernel level anti-cheat because it does give full access to your computer and everything that's on it.
Yeah. Like,
Right.
so I still, the Valorant thing, I haven't played Valorant in 2 years and it's still running on my computer, just farming me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that may be a user problem, but as are most of the problems you have on your PC. That's okay. Sometimes you just catch a couple of diseases out there on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And you're infected.
It stays running, bro. When you close Valorant, that thing stays running.
Yes, the anti-cheat does specifically. Yeah, in the background all the time. And you
Wonder
have
why.
to, like, because you have to restart your computer and reboot, and that has to come up first before you're able to boot the game.
Okay. All
yeah.
right. It is what it is.
So, that all being said, this already was like kind of in the news from our friend over Pirate Software. He was talking about kernel level, and he had said something along the lines of, you know, I'm not a fan of it. I never have been, blah, blah, blah. I don't like it. It shouldn't exist. Right. And, you know, I respect the guy very much. He worked for a very long time at Blizzard doing anti-cheat, but it was a lot of preventative type stuff to basically shut down botters, people who have like a robot basically make a character, go out into the world and farm things, and they sell the gold and all the items and blah, 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 right? Or to power level a character without actually having to be there at the computer. That's fine and all. But when it comes to FPS, like when the most promising or secure or cheat-free experiences comes from kernel, it's like you question that a little bit. But this week, we see potentially one of the issues. Obviously, at whether this is specifically due to the kernel level anti-cheat or not, this comes down to a complete lack of security for Respawn. Really ridiculous, and it's very scary because all of these players' personal details are obviously on their PCs, or some of them, right? Smart broadcasters use one PC. If they have a dual PC setup, they use one PC for personal things, and then their gaming PC that they actually connect the things on, nothing's on that, right? Which is the way that I treat my setup. But
do you think hackers feel obligated to poke holes when they see holes?
Some do. Yeah, and I mean, some literally get hired, right, by companies to try to poke holes, right?
And the government.
Yeah, and because they want to see the vulnerabilities and they want to be able to cover them up. And it is a big game to a lot of them, right? I think they all, just like anything else, like they all have different thought process towards it, or what motivates them to participate. And not all of it is dubious by any means, right? Cybersecurity is like a big thing, and obviously some of the best are the people that are capable of doing this, right? That's how it works. So it is interesting. I think when you do something like this in an esports environment, you're looking to cause a problem, right?
Mhm.
Well, I think
Maximum
that's how you
exposure.
make it noticed right away,
Sure.
is when it's on the stage.
Sure.
I'm not saying these guys are good by any means. I'm just
You think he put a
talking
bunch of
about
puts
hackers.
on EA first? Activision? Or not?
What?
Shorts. So those would be calls.
No. He's planning on the tank, or he's planning on the stock to tank. I think it's a put, but the question is,
Oh, you want to short it?
Yeah, he's basically trying to short. What's the stock for EA?
It might be EA. What's the
I think
ticker?
it's just EA.
Maybe.
Hold on.
Who's got the ticker for EA out there? EA Sports. It's in the game.
Yeah, it's just EA.
Got it. Okay.
That's a good ticker.
Yeah.
That's what my grandma always used to say.
In the game? It's in the game? Good for her.
Yeah,
bro.
that one.
Okay.
Well, all right. So one day, down 0.48. That ain't bad. When did this happen?
A couple of days ago.
Well, days ago, if we look at the 5 day,
Nah, nothing happened.
Maybe it happened there.
A little bit of a dip.
Nah,
You don't think?
nah, nothing really
I'm
happened.
just saying that would have been my thought process is, you know, if I'm gonna get in there, I'll make a little money doing it. You feel me?
Now, if you're a hacker and you're capable, and you also wanted to short a company, you probably want to short like Tesla or something, or hack Tesla, because they're known for being super secure.
Something
What's
tells
up?
me that Tesla's has significantly less vulnerabilities than Respawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So they're known for being secure. So you hack them, and then people question, the stockholders question, wow, if they're getting hacked, I don't even want to be here. Freaking
Yeah, but-
dropped.
What do you do to them that's like national news, like other than like potentially harming somebody by crashing
Yep.
an autopilot? Like that goes way beyond just hacking. Like that's attempted murder and probably worse.
Oh,
All right,
yeah,
well,
absolutely.
If you guys want to end up on a list, so be it. All right, that's fine. If you-
Yeah,
You
there's
see this
there's
hat, dude? I'm already on a list.
there's some computer banks clicking on at the NSA right now.
Unreal. All
Dude,
right.
every time I go through TSA, they give me the double X and cavity search.
Well, you asking for it?
You wear that hat?
Don't mind if I do.
If you
What
just
do we
wore the
got here?
assless
What's
chaps? There'd be nothing left to the imagination. You know what I'm saying?
So my dad always used to make the assless chaps joke, and then I realized all chaps are assless.
I don't think so.
Yes,
Just the
because
ones that you
chaps
see.
go over the pants.
Yeah, but I think there are ones that don't have the cutout.
Those aren't chaps.
You don't think?
Chaps are specifically covers on the legs.
Well, the first thing about them is aren't all chaps assless chaps.
Stupid questions.
Aren't all chaps assless chaps?
And then the response is, yeah, if it's not assless, they aren't chaps.
I think the assless part got added somewhere along the line as a joke for shock value.
Yeah.
If it's not assless, they aren't chaps, they're pants. And then the response to that is, I'm too high for this. And there you go. All right. Trying to keep us back on track here.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. So Respawn did have a response. You want to read that to us,
Yep.
Abe?
Sure, and this is as boilerplate as it gets.
As you would
So it
expect.
says, on Sunday, a few professional Apex Legends player accounts were hacked during an ALGS event. Game and player security are our highest priorities, which is why we paused the competition to address the issue immediately. Our teams have deployed the first of a layered series of updates to protect the Apex Legend player community and create a secure experience for everyone. Thank you for your patience, Respawn Entertainment. They also did, I believe, this at one point in time did not allow for replies. I think you can reply to it now.
Well, what do you want them to say? What are they
Yeah.
supposed to say?
I hear you. You
Yeah.
know, if I was a player that was a part of this and had like had like serious vulnerabilities to like me, my family, all these things, I'd be absolutely furious. I'd be really butthurt about it. So, and I'm sure that's the case for some of these players. That sucks.
Is
Feels
it
bad, man? It's
is the
Respawn's
portal
responsibility to ensure that the way these are set, like, because I've been in situations before where like if you connect to certain things, like anyone can see your IP and stuff like that, which is an issue. It's not the end of the world, but it's an issue, especially for a live broadcaster that can easily be DDoSed, all that kind of thing, right? So it's like, you know, I expect a basic level of security from the things that, you know, I'm participating in, especially at a professional level. Like, what are we doing here? You're one of the biggest companies in gaming and you can't protect your player base? That's nuts. And I'm not just saying like general player base. I'm talking about your actual professional players.
Yeah.
Well,
It also means that the general player base is vulnerable too, though, right? I mean, obviously, if they could do this on that stage, they could do this to anybody playing the game.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not.
To the
That's
point
not where the money
where-
is.
To the point where, correct. To the point where, you know, like I think we've seen a lot of people uninstall Origin, which is the launcher for EA that controls all this kind of stuff. So I don't have it on my PC, but if I did, I would have taken it off.
So when you play a game, try to extrapolate that a little bit. So when you join a server or a game or something, obviously it has your computer's information, all this information. Now it's whoever's running that server, it's their duty to protect it the best they can.
Right.
What else? Like when you go on the internet, like if you're just browsing Chrome, isn't it kind of the same type of vulnerability?
And you're pinging for sure. But again, it's like they don't have full access and control due to a kernel level anti-cheat on your PC, right? They just, like seeing your IP is one thing, right? My point is that sometimes in a game, the player base has access to that just through playing. Which is
so because of
the
nature,
way things are set up by whatever it is. Yes.
The nature of an invasive anti-cheat, it's got more information than would typically have when you're just browsing Google Chrome or something.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It has actual access to the computer in this case because of the kernel level anti-cheat.
They are literally on this dude's computer doing things.
Oof.
Actively. Yeah.
That happened to me one time, dude. So my computer room when I was growing up, it was one computer facing the wall, and then it was Nooch's computer in the back corner. And I was browsing, and all of a sudden, things started moving. And I was freaking out. And somehow Nooch downloaded something where he had access to the computer right next to me, and he was moving it and freaking me out.
Full team viewer.
That was like that was low-level kernel hack.
Yeah. I do
little tip out there if you're your family's IT person. I and my brother both put basically that type of control on my parents' computer. That way, when they call us and they have a problem, we just remote in and fix it.
Oh, that's genius.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely save you a lot of time, a lot of headache. As long as you're okay with seeing your parents' browsing history from time to time. Sometimes you don't want to peek behind the curtain.
There's that too. So Respawn got some work to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
What else we got next?
Sure. All right. So up next, staying in the realm of gaming, and I, every once in a while, I like to call out the things that I write into the little notes for this. I was pretty proud of this one. So the title of this was "Be Honor." Blizzard announced World of Warcraft pirate-themed Battle Royale mode called Plunderstorm.
That's good.
So this announcement came out of nowhere, by the way. I mean, they had not talked about this. No one saw this coming, but they have created a limited time. Wait, what was that?
You know what they call that in gaming?
What do they call it?
That's a shock drop.
A shock drop. Oh, I like
in
that.
gaming's got full
rights.
full autonomy or full whatever it is on that
industry's ever thought of it. Good.
Okay.
Well, so basically, they've made a standalone game mode. You have to download and install it separately from regular traditional World of Warcraft. But it's I think you can do solo or duo, so you can connect by yourself or with a friend. And it is a full blown battle royale. There's going to be chests on the map that allow you to discover things like gold and different spells and abilities. You can then either kill people and steal their abilities and spells and upgrade your own, or find duplicates of those to continue to upgrade them. And the goal is to be the last pirate standing. So it is pirate themed. And then progressing in Plunderstorm then unlocks cosmetics right now and mounts and pets and things in World of Warcraft itself.
So, first things first, Plunderstorm is a fire name, dude. That's fire.
Plundering?
Yeah. Love that name.
Storm
Second is Abe. I like the creativity with the name of this segment, but technically it would be called Be Arg.
Oh, that's a good point.
With a G on the end of it.
Yeah.
Arg, matey. I'm excited for that. What was that face for?
Go ahead.
I'm correct on that, dude.
What are you excited about?
I'm excited about this because the one reason I don't play World of Warcraft is because it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Bring it down.
Mm-hmm.
So a battle royale, join in, join out.
Yep.
Win a couple, get a couple plunders.
Yep. Score.
That's it, dude.
Call it a day.
You can solo or duo with a friend.
That's
Let's
nice.
get in there.
Fun
Yeah,
with friends.
apparently people were a little mad you couldn't do more than duos because they have guilds that exist with already pretty large communities within the game. But that's just a kind of a silly complaint, in my opinion. It's a specific game mode that's designed around solo or duo, so they could probably just shove that
And
one.
when you bring in,
Oh, why, Blizzard? How come we don't have trios? I have 4 friends. Look at me. I want a quartet.
Valid concern.
not valid when adding more undermines the design of the game, which it often does. Because they build out one map and they build out one game and they have a certain amount of loot on the map, all these things, and then you're trying to balance that all of a sudden for solo, duo, trio, 4s. It makes it way worse and it undermines the quality of the game entirely. And so when they feed into these whiny ass complaints, and call it like it is, because Reddit, I'm looking at you. You know, it makes the game worse and it waters it down. It always feels bad, and just let them create what they wanted to create and play it with one friend and shut up.
But
what?
But on the quest to become the strongest pirate in the world,
Yeah,
it also is heavily dependent on building the strongest crew. So it's in the lore of being a pirate, and I should know I'm a cowboy.
they both like hats. That's for sure. They both got that hat swag. I hear, I'm picking up what you're putting down. And if they want to down the line make another map that caters to a larger group, then so be it, right? Because I really did like the fact that solos had a different map for Dark and Darker, duos had a different map, and then trios had a different map. And it made sense and it felt good, because then they could balance those individually and give you 3 different experiences, right? And they do that over time. And so, like, this is the first iteration. Let them play with it. You know what I'm saying? But if, I'm sure
it was announced as a limited time offering, but I have a hard time believing that this is not a test phase for something bigger for them. Because if this is well liked and successful, why wouldn't they dive into a new audience and capture the BR space as well?
I'm gonna say this. I was in a meeting with Blizzard for this before this announcement came out. And there's something, I didn't sign any NDAs, first and foremost. But we were asked to keep some things close to chest, and that's fine. I don't mind doing that. But what I will say is this is a test phase for combat specifically. And potentially they enjoy the fact that they get to use this as a way to test, because there is a question about whether or not this would potentially bleed into the type of combat we see in future versions of WoW, because it is different. It is faster paced. It is more, in your face, more responsive, but there's a reduced number of abilities. And so whether or not that comes to fruition, time will tell, but they do like this as just a testing ground that feels good. And funny enough, there's a couple of interesting things here. That concept of using a BR as a testing ground for MMO has already been done. And I don't think there's a whole lot of people drawing this comparison out there, but Ashes of Creation launched a Battle Royale version of their game first, so they could start playing around with combat and spells, so they could figure out what felt good from that perspective of the game before they built it out anymore. Very interesting.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And you talk about Ashes of Creation all the time.
Yeah, they used to have a BR that you could play, that they had a small subset of player base, but a bing, but a boom. But it was a very different kind of experience. But this is how they started, right? Like they built that out so they could get like really meaningful player feedback on combat in general, and what direction they wanted to push that. And it does make sense. It makes perfect. It's really cool concept. So I'm happy to see Blizz looking at other things and taking from that, learning from that, and hopefully giving us a better experience as a result. I haven't played it yet. Tomorrow is going to be my first day. I'm probably going to jump in. Looks pretty cool. And then the other thing that's of note here is you'll notice that there's no items in game. It's all spell based, and so you're looking to get multiple spells of the same kind to upgrade, right? And so
Mhm.
there are, I think there's like 4 or 5 levels of each spell, and they become progressively stronger, and you only get them if you find them, right? So you're looking to get like a 5 upgraded X fire spell, right? For example, and you only get like two spells, 5 spells. I don't know off the top of my head. It's very limited. And then you get like some of them are like, some have movement to them, some don't. Some deal more damage. I'm sure there's a trade-off there. But this concept comes from Spellbreak, which was a short-lived BR that worked this way. Those devs are actually working on this. Those devs were hired by Blizzard to work on this. So I'm not surprised to see that as like a core characteristic of this Battle Royale.
Wasn't there another Battle Royale that was similar to that too, where you like turned into a chicken when you
that
died?
was Realm Royale.
Realm
Dude,
Royale.
that game
That
was
had like a
lit.
spell upgrade system too, didn't it?
It did have a spell upgrade system, but it was also very heavily gear dependent, right? So you'd go to the blacksmith and upgrade your chest.
That's right.
gun,
That's right.
your-
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So
a little bit.
You're telling
different.
me that Plunderstorm,
Yeah,
with a
buddy.
name like that,
Yeah, buddy. There's no
it's
plunder.
just a test. It's just a test thing.
It's a limited time, is what they're calling it. If it is successful, they will keep pushing it and flesh it out more.
What a name. Well, good for them, dude.
But Activision is the kind of company, or I guess Microsoft now, KEKW, is the kind of company that can, put resources into some testing just to see. I'm not mad about it. Limit the scope, get a proof of concept, and then if it works, run with it. Don't pour a ton of money into some garbage launch that just is a flash in the pan. I respect this method. I think I'm on board, bro.
Well,
I'm
if
on board,
anything,
too.
the limited access is just going to build even more hype if you decide to fully launch it
Exactly
later.
What it
I
did
mean,
with Dark and Darker, and why it hit
Yeah.
100K concurrent plus is because of those tight periods.
Well,
Just saying.
speaking of Dark
Yeah.
and Darker,
yeah.
Abe, what you got?
They made a very big announcement this week, Dark and Darker, something that I think we've talked about on this podcast before, something we focused on, but they have announced that they are coming to the Epic Game Store. So they are getting rid of the, actually, I think you might still be able to use the other launcher too, but they are being added to the Epic Game Store after, I believe, about 1 year after their official launch, which is huge news. This was announced on their Discord.
Yeah, buddy.
And basically they said because of the increased confidence in the quality of the game and the preparations they've done now, and let's be honest, it's because the lawsuit is settled in North America, they felt comfortable doing this and have made it so that you can now purchase the game on Epic. And I believe you can transfer your access if you already own it to Epic. I have to verify that though. I was trying to dig into that, they didn't have a ton of information about it.
Cool.
Wow. Good for them. Mark, how's that make you feel?
It makes me feel like some of the creators that stuck with the game despite its lackluster development schedule will probably benefit due to an increased audience. So they will get rewarded for their, we'll call it loyalty on that front, which is cool. And I'm happy for those creators because a lot of them are good friends of mine. I've moved on because I can't be asked to deal with that headache of that development schedule as previously mentioned. I don't think it's been in a very good way. Maybe it'll get back on track and I'll be interested and we'll dive back in at some point. And hopefully also the Epic Games launcher will bring in some much needed player base for something that has been pretty significantly fizzling, either due to other projects or people just also simultaneously getting tired, as I am, of the dev cycle. So hopefully, yeah, this will allow more people to check it out, probably for the first time, and they will be pleased with where things are at. I would have to assume it's really well geared to a brand new player. It is very poorly geared towards a player that has experience in the game. So I think people will likely find that they get their money's worth out of the experience if they've never played before, and I would recommend it.
So when is this coming to the Epic Game Store?
I don't believe they made an official announcement. I believe right now you can. They didn't give an official date.
Looks
But
like
I
it is
believe
wish listable.
currently you can wish list it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll have an announcement on the exact time. I imagine they wouldn't have announced that and put it on the wish list if it wasn't coming soon. But don't let me speak for them. I don't have this.
Oh, good for them, dude. Let's go. W's for everyone so far.
Yeah, this is a positive Abe episode. This isn't Abe brings the doom and gloom of all the technological advancements.
Well, maybe that means we'll see a little bit more dark and darker on the Markstrom stream.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. All right, what else we got?
All right, so I think this next was a little bit of a connect the dots mystery here because we did talk recently about pricing updates to the Unreal Engine and what that might look like for people that are using it beyond game development. And there is, I believe it was just announced, I don't know the specifics on the announcement, but there is a tool. It's a motion and broadcast dedicated tool set within the Unreal Engine called Project Avalanche. And it just so happens that it's being made available in Unreal Engine 5.4, that version. And if you recall to the last episode, we talked about how everything, I believe, in 5.2 and before was free. So this would be something that would not be available in the free version.
That'll get you every time.
5.3 and previously is not affected.
First thing that we said when we heard that is, man, that upgraded tool set's gonna look so juicy behind that paywall, and right off the rip.
I mean, this is how you do it, though. This is really how you do it. You build so much value, and you get them hooked. Like you get them hooked by them thinking, "Wow, they're not even building it for us, and they understand us." And you build such a good tool. You build a motion graphics tool. You build a rendering tool that's actually better than a lot of the 3D renderers made to create motion graphics. You build a program that you can do virtual production with, but that's just a nice little side effect. We didn't make it for you guys. Get everyone so hooked. And then they're building the Project Avalanche. It's a motion graphics toolkit. And Abe, if you don't mind just playing that video for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the listeners, sorry, you won't be able to see this. Keep the volume off.
Okay.
So you can bring SVG logos in, you can have physics, lighting, and they're making it very, very simple. That's the key, that's the biggest thing here is simplicity. So having an easy interface to add bricks breaking or waves or particles, that's the trickiest part in Blender and in Maya. It's like no one wants to learn that crap, but they're making everything so simple, and it's built in the Unreal Engine, which has the best lighting, the quickest rendering. So all of this was being built for motion graphic designers, and I think it's like they were undercut. They knew what they were doing, but they were letting us think that they weren't really building it for us until Project Avalanche was launched and the 5.4 pricing thing was launched. But dude, I'm totally fine with it. I am absolutely fine with it. This thing is going to change the game. So I think Blender and Maya and CAD, whatever programs you're using, man, I think you guys got to step it up, dude, because Project Avalanche is really, really going to change the game for animators. And I mean, not just animators, dude, just 3D graphic artists. These, if you're listening, you should look up this video. And if you're into this stuff, because this stuff is just insane. These guys are doing it so quick. They're taking logos, they're blowing them up, they're reshaping them, they're bringing them into a 3D environment with realistic lighting. The physics simulations is just so easy. That's the best part, dude. I spent like 2 hours trying to learn water simulation in Blender. Gave up. Unreal Engine, there's going to be a button for it. How big you want the waves? You want them to have a little white foam on the end? You like the white foam on the end? Press that button in there.
Easy now.
Dude, this is huge.
I think that we're gonna need some viewers of the live broadcast to clip some of that. We're gonna get Slummy a little revenue here for that plug, because I don't know if anyone's ever summed it up that well for what the capabilities are. If you don't have at least a back end code, I don't know, bro, for those brand new subscriptions.
I'll take a free. Well, here's what I'm still confused about a little bit. Am I still gonna be able to download it for free and just not, if I don't make $1 million revenue, like not get screwed? Like, is that the thing, or am I gonna need to buy a seat like Abe was
Good
talking
question.
about? I'm still
EA
unsure about that.
Not EA, Epic, if you're listening, and we know you are. Slummy wants to know how that's going to work. Can you clarify for him?
Clarify. Oh, check this stuff out. So this is also huge. They've been doing this. They've been having ESPN contracts and Rocket League and all this stuff. But with Project Avalanche, if you're just listening, sorry, but look at this screen. They have these overlays, these texts, these scores, all of this stuff you can change in real time, and they make it very easy. How many players you want on this list? 10, 9, 8, 7, whatever you want. This thing is insane. You know, our buddy Javi, his team needs to jump. They're probably already jumping on this, but this is going to change the game. Got to get in on this. This is huge.
It looks very cool. It looks very professional. It looks like a really easy way to have very professional, modern looking broadcast journalism for anything that you want to do, right? So very impressive stuff. Epic always, man, always pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? Looking to definitely create value. I'm excited that you're excited, Slum.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I'm actually doing a very interesting Unreal Engine project. I'm starting to film it tomorrow, and then I'll be editing it this weekend. I love that program, man.
Well,
I felt
it's
kind of
amazing to me the difference in tone of how we talk about the Unreal Engine on here versus the Unity engine. And Unreal, you know, they changed their pricing. We kind of support it. Unity, it's like everything they do is we just hate it, and I think it's because of the quality of the product.
Value first, baby.
It's dude, I have learned so much, and I've spent so many sleepless nights on this program because when you start learning something, Markstrom talks about this in games. When you want to learn something, you get hooked because it's hard, yes, but there's got to be a certain level where you can accomplish it. Because if that level's too high, you're gone. I don't care how dedicated you are. If the level's too high, you're only going to like open it up so many times before you just break your computer. So Unreal Engine, I literally talked to Markstrom about this. I don't know. This might have been a year ago when I actually got into it. But 2 years before that, I tried to open Unreal Engine, and not successfully. I did not have a fun time. And then I looked back, and I was like, I'm not quitting this time. And I started learning it, and I started getting familiar with importing actual real footage, with modeling, with getting good lighting. And it's not easy to learn, but it is possible to learn and possible to get interested and get better at. And I can't speak on Unity. I really can't. But I can speak on the issue that they had, how in their pricing structure, someone was easily able to screw you over by downloading and removing. And I can say that's not a good idea. I can't speak on the quality of Unity. I can't speak on the networking issues. I really can't. But I can speak on Unreal Engine. And I gave Epic a bunch of money in the store, but not in Unreal Engine. And you really don't have to if you want to get good at Unreal Engine. You really can download free models. You can create your own maps. Like it's one of the best it's one of the best programs out there, but it's also one of the best free programs out there. And that's kind of freaking crazy.
Yeah, I think one thing that you hit on that's incredibly important to underline here is that your ability and capability for producing impressive things in this program came from multiple small projects, accomplishable projects of I'm going to push the envelope for myself, learn this new thing for this specific project where I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, accomplish it, and now that is going to go into my bag of tricks for future projects, right? I think that is true for learning literally anything that you want to like set your mind to, right? Is to find those bite-sized pieces, have a reason, a purpose behind learning it, and take those wins and take that knowledge with you and just build on that and let that snowball into a, you know, a portfolio of work that you're proud of and that shows that, you know, you can take on a lot more. And I mean, there's people that make entire careers out of doing exactly that. And that a lot, like, I think it takes a special kind of person to just like fall into that in the way that Slum has, because, you know, like we've kind of done that side by side for a very long time. I've hit Slum with so many things, so many projects, like, hey, this is what I need. Can we figure this out? And, you know, I think Slum has come to the realization that, yeah, absolutely, we can figure that out regardless, right? At a certain point, you just have this level of confidence because it's like, well, we figured out all the other shit that we didn't know how to do, you know?
I think I also have an issue, a disease that I don't want to let anyone down. And that might cause me to lose a few years on the end of my life. But I also take a lot of joy in just being the guy that can be relied on. I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal quality. And I think that anybody with that quality is going to end up with a lot more. You may end up with a little bit more anxiety, but you definitely also end up with more like self-satisfaction in your day-to-day. I think you probably fall asleep feeling pretty good, which is an important thing because that, you know, that's not true for everyone.
The pillow test.
The pillow test is big.
Well, I'm freaking excited about Unreal Engine 4. And just, yeah, I mean, we can't say anything more about it. It's a wonderful program, and I think that was a beautiful way to wrap that section. So, what else? And thank you, by the way, Markstrom, for those kind words.
It, man. You earned
what
it.
else we got in the department of things to talk about?
All right, so once again, I dubbed this one something that I'd like to call it. And this next article, I called it TikTok Round the Clock, but the party might stop. And that's because TikTok has been banned by Congress.
Of diseases. Jesus, man.
Bro, if you're going to try to make these, don't bring attention to it. Just try to hit it. See what happens.
Share, you know, there's a lot of hard work that goes into coming up with these dumb titles, and sometimes I want the stream family to hear it, you know. But essentially, a TikTok ban has been passed by Congress unless their Chinese parent company sells their stake. So in an act dubbed and this is a long one, Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, that was passed by a pretty overwhelming majority in the House. This bill basically says that if there's a foreign adversary that is dubbed to be in control of some piece of technology or application, that basically the United States has the ability to restrict access to that, and things like the Apple Store, the Google Store, they will be barred from hosting those types of applications to put them on your device. So TikTok's been added to the list. Their parent company ByteDance is a Chinese company, and they've basically stated ByteDance needs to lose their stake or TikTok will be banned in the US.
Well, I mean, so you guys might find this surprising, but I've been out of politics for the last month.
I noticed you were happier, bro.
I used to. I do believe that it is our civic duty as an American to be informed. I truly do. And it doesn't mean listen to one side all day.
Right.
It means get your information. Don't just read the headlines, read it all. And just be informed, because people pass things, they vote this way, and they don't really know what they're voting for. And I don't think you're doing the right thing if you're an American living in this country and not really being informed. But one thing I will say is our government has a history. First thing, this bill name, very specific, but our government has a history of naming things a certain way to evoke a certain feeling and confidence. And then in the fine print, it might be something else. So for example, everyone, you may have heard of the Patriot Act. Sounds wonderful. Who doesn't want to be a patriot?
I'm a patriot. vote
You're
yes.
a patriot. Who doesn't want to be a patriot? Sounds great, right? I can get behind that, but it actually means they can spy on you whenever and however they want to. Bet you didn't know that. So I'd be curious. I did not look into the bill. I don't really know what it says, but I can see the name of the bill: Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary. So are you more
Very
informed on the
leading.
bill? I'm not too informed on the bill. Are you informed on it?
I mean, have I read the piece of legislature in its entirety? No, of course not. You know, I completely agree. It's always a massive red flag, just as like a semi-competent human being, right? When the title is as leading as this, Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. The reality of the situation is, I'm gonna give you the context that you need so that you can take what I say with a grain of salt.
Okay.
TikTok is my favorite application on my phone.
Oh, I know.
I find so much pleasure in TikTok.
Mhm.
And not just from mindless entertainment and mindless like teens dancing, because that's what people think of when they think of TikTok, but that's not the content that I receive. There's never been an app that more quickly hones itself in on my interests and then procures quality content that is being created around the world specific to what I give a shit about.
Wonder how they do that.
And because I'm a person who likes learning, almost all of my content is informational, right? And that feels good. Knowledge is good. Knowledge is power. I really do learn some new shit every day because of TikTok. And that's to me, I feel very strongly about it being a vital source of information. And it's like, I'm not talking about, like, I'm not watching the news from TikTok because I avoid the news to an extent, right? Like, it's not giving me that because I'm not clicking into it, right? It'll test me. It'll give me some political bullshit, and I'm just swipe. I'm not giving it 1 second of watch time. My
it was swiped out
rate
of.
is just boom. I'm out.
They're like, okay, we'll try again in 2 months.
Yeah, my AVD as low as humanly possible on the political. And the thing, and like, I appreciate it for that. It's like, but I'm also the guy who, like, if I'm gonna get ads anyway, I want my ads to be targeted. I want targeted ads. I don't mind. I don't want to get ads for fucking maxi pads. You know what I mean? I want an ad for something I would give a shit about. And sometimes I buy shit because and it makes my life better. If I'm gonna get ads anyway, obviously I prefer not to receive constant advertisement spam. But today's world, especially in the United States, consumerism is king. We're gonna get ads, whether we like it or not, right? It's gonna be injected everywhere. So,
and I pose a question based off of that because I agree with you. So my question would really be, in looking back at the title of this bill, it's not the Protecting American Consumers from Adversaries Act. It's foreign adversaries. We're perfectly fine if an American-based company steals all your data and learns all these things about you and has these controls over you. It's just the fact that it's a foreign adversary that we are now concerned about it. So the real question is, do you care if American companies get your data?
The rhetoric here has always been that foreign nations are controlling the youth through TikTok, right? There is not an ounce of foreign content that reaches me.
It's not. Would you like to hear why?
I understand that they, like, even if they are specifically picking and choosing the content that I receive for their own personal interests, they must really want me to get better at guitar, because 98% of the TikToks that I get right now are really classic riffs that, will improve your cross picking and alternate string picking. Like, that's what I'm getting.
But
anyone who actually uses TikTok knows that that is what we are landing on. If you're a normal human being where your TikTok has acclimated to your interests.
You ready?
I'm ready. All right. I've got
first things first. You're an old fart, so you're not of military age. They don't care what you're looking at. Second thing, there were many studies done in China and in America saying what they showed to young adults.
Mhm.
In
I've heard
China, engineers, scientists. In America, content creator, YouTuber.
Right.
That's one thing.
But that's a massive cultural difference. First and foremost, about like how they raise youth, right? Versus us. Very much so. Like they have the stakes are higher in China due to the competition, due to the population, right? And so like they have their social credit scores and all of these things. And from a very young age, it's all about min-maxing, right? Education so that they can land where they need to land and have the future that they like, that is a aspirational future. At any point as an American, we can chase down our aspirational future, which is a beautiful thing, but that doesn't necessarily exist in China.
Okay.
You understand what I mean?
I do understand what you mean.
So like it does make sense, and they wanting to control their own citizens, right? Want what's best, and they're going to like that. That's the whole social concept, right? We are like very much so. We want to consume entertainment, and I understand like the argument of like China is not going to push educational content. We don't. The thing is, the reality is, it shouldn't be up to TikTok to push education to somebody. It shouldn't be up to that, right? Obviously. And how? And if you are going to let your kids spend 8 hours a day on TikTok, they're fucked already. Let's put it plainly, man. They are.
All
they
right.
low rolled on their parents.
I mean, I don't disagree with you.
Right. So like,
what is?
Okay, go ahead.
What is the what does IP stand for when you're in a company?
Intellectual property.
Intellectual property. So, Abe, you mentioned we're okay with companies in America stealing your data.
Mhm.
We're not okay with that. And actually, these companies that do farm your data, yeah, they might make it very hard to disagree to and make it very vague. But you, to a certain extent, you have to agree to all that stuff.
Mhm.
And I see
Okay.
you have Apple, and maybe not in the terms, but Apple is actually doing very good at saying this phone is going to start recording or opening its camera to see you. Are you cool with that or no? And we'll put dots on the phone so you know if if you open an app and you see this dot, something's recording you, and make sure you look
Mhm.
into that. So I don't think we're okay with it. And then I asked the
Google.
IP question because China actually steals companies' IP from America and sells it as their own.
Mhm.
So I'm not against us cracking down on TikTok. I don't know exactly what this bill does, but I'm sure if we crack down on it, we're just going to do the same thing with this app, but maybe have a long worded screen where you press accept for it, and that's about it.
And I don't disagree too that also when it, because if it's an American-based company, our government does have more controls over subpoenaing data, getting information. Like there is a lot more in their power if it is a U.S.-based company than there is if a foreign company like that. So I do agree with you a lot in that context, right? There's a lot more controls that our government then can put in place if it's based off of U.S. companies. So I don't disagree with that at all.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens, dude. This has been talked about so long.
Yeah, I find it so, I get worked up because obviously what I hear is the most like dumb shit arguments of all time, right? Like there's a boomer population in the US and on the internet that I have to read comments from that just doesn't have an ounce of sense, and it's from a place of ignorance, because they don't use the app, right? They don't like their perception of what it is so skewed from just like watching, like they're paying for cable every month and watching their news channels, whichever news channel they're watching, right? And it's irritating. It's fucking beyond irritating. I have such a hard time reining it in.
Why don't you tell them to bring the source, dude?
Because ignorance sucks. But they live blissfully. They do. Well, maybe that's not true. In their case, because they get pretty heated pretty quickly. I don't know, man. It's super frustrating. I think TikTok's a great tool. Everything in moderation, as just like, you know, a human being that like wants to engage a little bit into entertainment and a little bit into learning new things, new skills, exploring new hobbies. It's a great app for that sake. I love it. Screen time in general being, you know, limited should already be a consideration, right, for a person who lives in balance. I don't know, man. And again, like this, we are supposed to be the nation that that exists in every sense of the word of freedom, right? And
hell yeah, brother.
And the amount of just like regulation from the concept of protecting us from foreign adversaries is just, it's nauseating, right? Because it's so disingenuous. And the fact that they voted so cohesively on one of the only things we've ever seen them vote cohesively on in like who knows how long is just like, Jesus, we are so screwed with like where we stand as far as a political structure in our country. It sucks.
Don't get me started.
I know. I hear you, brother.
I'm itching over here.
I know you're itching.
It still does need to pass the
It does
Senate.
have to go to the Senate, and I was just doing some Googling, and they don't know when it's going to go to the Senate.
Yes.
He did say if it went on his desk, he would sign it, though, too. So it just really has to clear the Senate.
Yeah, we will see. I don't know, man.
We'll see. All right.
Yeah, but again, to Slum's point, like, be informed, understand what people's voting past is like, especially if they're up for some sort of re-election.
Mm-hmm.
Eyeball it. See if their interests align with yours. See if they're all fucking assholes and you don't really have a good choice. Oh, wait.
Just two shitty wings to a shitty bird.
I like that. I'm gonna use that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm saving that one. Yeah.
Do I have to wear the cowboy hat when I say that?
Absolutely.
Oh, all right.
I'll ship you
Sell
one.
cowboy hats with that printed on it.
All right. Anyway,
What else we got? What's
what else
next?
we got, Abe?
All right, so we got a new tech alert. Sound the new tech alarm. It's called the AI pin. Okay, and my best way to describe this thing is picture taking something around the size of like the face of an Apple Watch, giving it a magnetic back, pinning it onto your shirt, and then now you have basically a fully functioning computer that's doing things like scanning your environment. It's connected to your entertainment, like music and podcasts and things like that. It's playing, it's reminding you of text. Doing.
Yeah,
I do. Sorry, I do. I was describing.
Bring that visual up, dude.
There's a video we can watch too. This website, I will say, New Tech, their website is atrocious. Okay. It's really hard to navigate. But let me scroll down to like some of the stuff with the hand. So how it actually works is it'll project its UI into your palm, and then you control and interact with the UI through your hand movement.
Yeah, the way that they described in the video that I watched is like pretend there's a marble in your hand, and that's how you move it to try to get the marble to go to like where you want to select in a multi. You see what I'm saying? There's like 4 points on that circle in this guy's palm. It's like a blue projection, and he's gonna move it so that the marble would move to that. So it becomes quite intuitive pretty quickly, which is cool. I thought that was a neat idea.
So here's some just like of its display. And then certain things too, like you see in there that they're making like the OK symbol or the symbol that you hold below your waist to punch somebody.
Yeah.
That like interacts. That interacts with it as well. You could do UI commands through interaction that way as well.
So can you show us if you scroll down a little more, a couple times, right there? What do you guys think of the design?
It's ugly for
Um,
sure.
Yeah, it's real ugly. You kind of look like some kind of low-level Star Trek crewman.
It didn't get made by Apple, I'll tell you that.
Oh, it got made by two of the designers that used to work for Apple for 20 years.
Interesting. How
Head
come
of
it looks so
design,
ugly then?
actually. One of
Is
the
that why
guys.
they don't work at Apple anymore?
I think it actually. I think it shows their history of Apple.
Really?
Look at the outer, like the chrome outerwear,
Yeah.
the matte shiny, like that middle ground of black. That's not matte, but it's not satin. Maybe it's called whatever.
Mm.
The round, the oval. It's very obvious that they took some. That they brought that
Yeah,
design.
I mean, it's Apple Watchy. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
it looks like an Apple Watch that
Yeah.
you stapled to your shirt.
Right.
But here's what we'll have to figure out. So when it comes to Apple, just got done the Steve Jobs biography. Is freaking fire. Steve Jobs believed wholeheartedly that design, engineering, and software and experience, everyone's got to be in the same cubicle, and it's got to be built together. And it's got to be all cohesive and be a wonderful product, a wonderful customer experience. Not a lot of companies have their engineering next to their designing. They design, they ship it to the engineer, and they say, make it work.
Yep.
To his credit, the lack of cohesiveness between departments is specifically what kills big companies, in my opinion. It's awful.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see with this if they brought over more than just Apple design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Apple, if you dig deeper into Apple, it's not just about design. It was about Steve Jobs' passion and hard-headedness about when people tried to separate things in the company and do things a different way. He said no, he said no, he said no. And I always, until I kind of listened to that book, I always found it annoying. It's like Apple products only work with Apple products. Yeah, but they can control the customer experience that way. And he was very passionate about that. You know, it's an interesting thing.
What's that?
That's the same reason why Apple stores only have one door in the mall. Because it's easier to control the customer experience as opposed to having the door in the front, outside of the mall, and the back. Some of the malls some of the stores in the mall have the 2-door situation, and Apple is absolutely one of the stores that they wanted to. One door, control the customer experience. Freaking love that. But anyway, back to the pin. We'll have to see if they brought any other thing from Apple to this pin other than the design. Because
A couple of the things with this too, I'll try and find the screenshots of it, but the concept is it has a camera and it's scanning the environment around you. And one of the coolest things I saw had to do with nutrition. This is why this website is awful, by the way. I am literally spamming the mouse scroll to get through all these bits of information. But there is one that's specifically about here we go, nutrition, right? So you can actually do things like hold up an object in front of it. It'll be able to recognize it and tell you like caloric information, sugar content, stuff like that. I also see this being something that's useful for people with allergies to be able to scan things that might have allergens that they're allergic to and things like that. So I thought this type of technology and its impact on that side and what you could do with things like that was really, really cool. So I think the concept is pretty awesome, but it also costs like $700 for the base version of this.
$699.
$699.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very hard time. This is just a small phone you're pinning to your chest with some specific applications. I don't see this being like, I don't know, man. Like I'll like we have these like little PCs in our pockets, right? That can do everything that this thing can do. Like one of the selling points that I saw for this originally when I first linked it to you is like, okay, they're using it to translate back and forth. Like one person speaks into it and it spits it out in the other language. It's like, okay, well, I have this thing in my pocket that can do that too, in a bunch of different ways. Like, and it can show it written as well. And like, I just have if you are literally like, you have to have this thing pinned to your chest, and then you have to put your hand out as for the projection screen. How is that different than pulling my phone out,
It's
man?
Not, it's not. That's
It's
that's
worse.
why.
It's actually worse.
Yeah, it's just harder to control at that point. It's like, okay, now I need to send an email, so let me move my hand like I'm moving a marble towards my middle finger. Yeah, it's like it's impractical.
It feels impractical. It's interesting. It's like people are so desperate to take that next jump. Technologically speaking, everyone thinks that they're going to make this like the next thing that catches on. But sometimes I feel like they're just not sitting and asking themselves like, oh, does this actually like provide anything new of value? Does it fix any problems? Like, what are we trying to accomplish here? I would love to hear that answer from the people who made this. Like, what is it actually going to do differently than what's inside of everyone's pocket already? Like, I don't know.
And not to get too tinfoily, but the thing is right on your heart all day.
Ooh, I like where you're going with this.
Does that like, I always heard like maybe the brain is starting to get some iffy stuff because of holding the cell phone up to it. Like,
Mr.
Population
Huberman
control.
doesn't keep his cell phone in his pocket because
Yeah.
of the effect on gonads.
yeah. So this thing's right next to your heart, and they want you to wear it there all day.
I think they just have a self detonation in there and just a little. They
What,
just
like,
gotta hit the big red button, drop everyone who's wearing this
That's
thing.
Kingsman, right? Where all their heads exploded.
Oh yeah, yep. True.
Anyway,
This thing just Indiana Jones is your heart on a command.
they literally, that's what this website screen is showing you. We have your heart in our hands. We're gonna squeeze it.
This is showing some guy holding a dragon fruit, and yeah, it does look
does look a
oddly
lot like a
heart-like.
heart.
Yeah.
Okay, we get it.
Interesting imagery.
Well, boys, I think maybe we'll revisit that pin when we get some reviews on it.
Yeah,
and
well,
it
I
gets
do.
out
I would
there.
love to watch someone who's gotten one, like sit and review it, who isn't paid by the company or received it for free.
Yeah.
We'll watch
Caveat.
we'll watch the Marquise Brown or whatever his name
I love
is.
that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how many rotten cabbages this gets on our site.
Anyway, so I think we went overtime, dude.
A little over.
A little
Not much.
over, but
8
it's
free
been
minutes.
wonderful.
Good.
Markstrom,
Yes, sir.
what's new in your life? What's going on? I know you got some crazy stuff coming up.
So much stuff coming up. Man, working hard behind the scenes. Really excited to share with everyone what we've been playing with. Some new content for the YouTube, but also doing a lot of groundwork and prep for Gamers Outreach. We're going to be raising money to bring gaming to kids in hospitals for the annual fundraiser, Gamers for Giving 2024. We will be raising money live on the channel April 6th and 7th, live from Eastern Michigan University Convocation Center. We're going to be in a big LAN party. We're going to have the streamer corral, getting down in the pit, trying to love someone, raise some money for the kids. That's the plan. So I'm excited for that. It'll be a nice little bit of travel and, yeah, see some friends and raise money for a good cause. We'll band the community together, rally around something great.
Where are we going to watch that?
Twitch.tv/Markstrom. Again, April 6th, April 7th.
Good stuff. That's exciting. Abe, what about you?
I'm just going to do like I did last week and use this time to say, please tune in for that. Please help. Please donate if you can and you're able to.
And if you can't,
it does a lot. Yeah.
share it with
If you
your
can, at
friends
least
and
watch. Yeah, there you go, too. Share, because what he does with to raise that money, the money goes for a great cause. Those kids really need it. They're in really bad situations. It's just a really good thing you can do to help out, even just by tuning in, taking part in everything that we're doing.
Yep.
That would be fantastic. I'll be, of course, moderating during the event, so you can find us once again at twitch.tv/Markstrom.
Good stuff. I'm not going to beat that one again, but you know, it's very important. I feel the same way, so be there. My name is Slum. It's me, Markstrom, Abe. We do this every week, unless Markstrom has a baby or Abe takes a vacation. I had a great freaking time this week.
in all fairness, Abe is on vacation right now and he is here.
Yeah.
I gotta give him credit on this one.
Secondary setup just so that we don't miss this
He's
week.
down in the deep south, but he's here.
Good for him. Thank you, Abe. I had a great time this episode. So yeah, we do this every week. What I'm gonna ask of you, would you kindly subscribe, send this to your friends, send this to your mom, send this to your brother, your sister, your auntie, whoever's watching. We have a good time every week, and we want to share that good time every week. So this has been another wonderful, wonderful episode of Plugged Podcast, and we will see you guys next week.
Deuces.